Okay, so it looks like we are now live. So, welcome everybody. Our stream for this Monday, September 18th. Um, we are going to be continuing our adventures into the world of playing with the gaming system Fabula Ultima. So, welcome. My name is Mike. I'm going to be the game master for tonight. I'm here with my good friends Brent.
Hello, everybody.
And Jeff.
Hi.
So, as a recap, for those of you that may not have caught the previous episodes, and if you're starting here, that's great. If you want to catch our back catalog, you can always go on YouTube, and we just put our live streams up as they come up, so that's good. So you can just watch them at your leisure. But basically, on our last adventure, our protagonists found the island of Korth, and they found some cave slimes. They found the cave slime Mark 1 and the cave slime Mark 2. Inside joke based on our post-game conversation.
Aggressive mozzarella.
Yeah, the aggressive mozzarella is version 1 and 2, which if you guys are interested in merch with stuff set at the gaming table, let us know, because I'm not above putting aggressive mozzarella on a shirt in all sizes, whatever size you need. That's okay. And then, so actually last week we encountered a situation where they got their first level in the game. And so the level up process in Fabula Ultima is pretty simple. They basically get to increase their hit points, their mind points, and also they get to select an additional level in one of their classes. Now, remember, you can only have a maximum of 3 classes in this game until you master that class at level 10, I believe it was. And so they selected their classes. So, Brent, why don't you go ahead and start and tell us what you chose for your level up? What did that do ability-wise, just so Jeff can be acclimated with what your character is? And then
I just took another level in Weapon Master, meaning that I'm better at hitting things again.
Okay. What skill did you take as part of your level up?
Weapon Mastery.
I'm a Weapon Master that took Weapon Mastery.
Yeah, melee Weapon Mastery. That's what it is.
Probably should have seen that coming.
I should have.
I hate I hate just depending on me rolling well to hit things. So if I can take a bonus to that, I probably usually will.
Okay. So just so everybody's aware, the melee weapon mastery skill that the weapon masters have, they gain a bonus equal to the skill level to all accuracy checks with melee weapons. This can be taken a maximum of 4 times, meaning that a weapon master gets quite the advantage to hitting targets, which Brent obviously needs based on what we've seen so far.
Yes.
And that isn't the game master making a joke at Brent expenses. Okay.
It is, but it's true.
That seemed aggressive.
Yeah, it did.
It's
Sorry,
true.
It's just true, Monday.
Too. It's true. So I think we're good.
We're good. Okay, and so let's switch it over to Jeff. What do you got for us, Jeff? What did you do for your level up?
I decided to take my level in Tinkerer, since that's my primary class, and I decided to. The skill that I took was I took another level in Gadgets Alchemy so that I could do it advanced, which gives me. It does cost an extra inventory point, but I do get to roll 3 dice and then choose 2. So it gives me some choices when I do that spell that I did last time. They gave us the big heal at the end.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
that's the one I decided to take.
I can see that could be very, very good in the clinch position because, at the very minimum, if you don't like what you've rolled with any of the dice for your effect, you can either have all your targets suffer poison damage, or you can have all your targets heal 30. So you can, if you, at the very least, you can choose your target and then you can give it one of those 2 effects is what it seems like it says. So that's kind of a cool ability.
No, it's nice that there's an out, that it's not just 100% at the whim of the table. That I can just go, I don't like any of these choices given the situation. I'm just going to take one of the 2 defaults. So
yep. No, that's really cool. It makes it a lot easier. And then of course I believe you can do infusions too. Is that something that you have to take a skill for?
I have to take that. I believe I have to take that separately. The infusions and the Magitech is how I was reading that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right.
It feels like a either or type of thing. So I don't know that I'm going to take alchemy up to superior, but if I want to do another gadget thing, maybe infusions, maybe.
Yeah, I
and
see.
maybe Magitech. I just haven't.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I see kind of some interesting kind of synergies between the different things that they have. You can only take 5 skill points in it, so you can't max
Right.
out 3 of them, even though that would be its own.
No,
interesting
and
thing.
that makes I think that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
So
It does. So, okay. So tonight we're going to begin our adventure. These guys had just finished up fighting a giant cave slime, or also known as a gray aggressive mozzarella, in the cave. They had fought this thing to the dissipation because I don't know. You really this game doesn't really focus on slaying things.
They melted or ran away, I assume, is what you're saying.
They disappeared into spirit particles. It seems like that's what happens. And so they were going to continue their search for the villager Kieran, and of course try to find the amulet that he went into the cave system with. So, with that being kind of the backdrop, do you guys have anything before we get going?
No, I don't.
no,
Okay. So now, I mean, if you guys prefer, we can always treat these as though they're actual JRPG combat scenes where there's like a little bit of victory music and then a little bit of Z just sprinkles onto your backpack, and then of course you run away with a few extra coins. I don't know if that's how you guys like that, but
I mean, I think that's pretty much what happened, wasn't it?
pretty
yeah,
much.
that's kind of what happened.
We
Showered
got
with experience.
like leveling sound.
Pretty much. And then that kind of continuous music as you guys are throwing your arms up in the air for no reason after Jeff smashed that cave slime with a book.
Indeed.
So okay, so since you did heal everyone, Solon is actually doing quite well. He was originally the slime tried to engulf him towards the end there, but failed as you guys penetrated the slime core and it disappeared, or whatever they do. So, what's your next move?
Well, you said that this tunnel. This was the bigger tunnel, right?
This is the large. We're in the large chamber, is what I had down in my notes.
Yeah. So basically, you guys had taken a turn into the system, and this was actually a larger chamber. It had ambushed you sort of by being on top of the ceiling and kind of falling down on top of you.
Fell on one of us. Yeah. Is this chamber a dead end or?
There are actually small little exits,
but there's an immediate left, a slight left. There's 2 rights, and then we were investigating the pillars before Salon got crushed by the ginormous cave slime. So should we finish? I think we should finish checking the pillars with Salon, or
yeah. But I mean, if no one comes down here, there has to be some sort of disturbance if somebody just ran breakneck through the tunnels.
Like, what kind of disturbance would you be looking for then?
Like dust, dirt. I mean, something. There should be some evidence that something walked through the tunnel.
So with the tunnel being more of like rocky limestone and stuff like that, it's not as evident as you might think. So there's not a ton of. It's not like a ton of loose dirt, one could say. So it's not like a ton of dust settles under here and all those kind of things. The moisture keeps the dust down. But as you do look around and you kind of bring your light sources to bear, assuming you guys are using light sources.
Yes, we brought light sources.
It's just walking around in the dark. Yeah, no. As you bring your light sources to bear, you do see an area that seems to be, not only is it kind of a little bit moist, but it looks as though it's much more damp than the rest of the surrounding rocky walls.
Okay, I guess we investigate it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what else to do other than investigate it.
So as you get closer, it becomes evident that the walls and the floors here are coated in kind of a thick, viscous slime. Its kind of surface glistens almost with that same malevolence as the cave slime before you. As it kind of almost slightly absorbs the light and kind of reveals that it's kind of opaque nature. The air around it is pretty pungent. It smells like animals have probably been either decomposing here, or there's something else. But it does feel kind of like that's depressing, like musty, like ugh, as you get a little bit closer. As you approach, you can hear the distant sound of some of the bats flying through the caves, and you can hear their kind of frantic screeches. And as you move around one of these stalagmites,
The
stalagmites,
Gotcha.
the pokey uppy ones, as you move around the stalagmites, you actually see kind of a larger mass of gray matter. It doesn't look like it's an actual slime or anything along those lines, but it does look as though maybe this is where the giant slime had kind of like nested when it wasn't lying in wait like a trapdoor spider. Unfortunately, you can see something in you can see a form ensnared within the morass. And as soon as Solon looks over, he basically says, he kind of whispers out Kalen before he grimaces and kind of turns away, gagging.
So I I look at Solon and I say, "So do you know where Kalen kept the amulet?"
He takes a moment. Obviously, he kind of
Right.
he sees that
I'm sorry for your loss, but
he probably would have had it on him. There was a small chest that we kept it in. And he kind of steps away and he kind of puts his hands on his hips and tries to take a breath of fresher cave air a few feet away.
I leave him to his grief. And is there any reason to believe that the slime stuff? I mean, we just fought it. Is it damaging to us if we touch it, or is it just gross?
Probably prolonged exposure would be dangerous based on your knowledge of slimes and everything like that. Slimes tend to have the ability to digest like literally anything given enough time, if that makes sense. So
I'm going to quickly investigate the body.
Okay.
Trying to find pockets,
The residue,
neck,
if you will.
wrists,
Sure. So basically you kind of like wade into this kind of thing, the squelch review, stepping closer to the body. You see that, it doesn't look as though he went out in a very pleasant way. His features, it kind of like as the slime has covered him, it pretty much gives him like like kind of a rictus of agony, like he's just like, those kind of things. So you can tell that as you get closer, you can see that the rugged smithing attire that he wore, kind of like heavy leathers and everything like that, didn't really seem to protect him much from the digestive fluids and the thing that seems to be breaking down him right now. His features are fairly eroded, but you see that as he kind of like almost like a football carry had kept a smaller chest like clutched slightly into his side. So while there's definitely the look of fear and despair looking away, there was an attempt by him to protect that smaller chest.
I will pick up the chest then.
Okay. You pry it out. After you pry it out, the sickly feeling of the slimy mucus that remains, it doesn't feel very good. But you're eventually able to kind of pry the chest out from the hands and get it away from him.
Okay. I'm going to step outside of the slimy.
Okay. Squelch.
Rejoin. Yeah.
Okay. You can tell it seems like it's a few minutes, and you can tell right now that Solon he's recovered from the immediate, kind of like smell and everything like that that's happened. Now he's just kind of more processing the feelings of, seeing a lifelong friend in this position. So Brent, what are you doing during this time?
Well, since he seems to be looking, I'm just kind of keeping an eye out, making sure we don't get attacked by any other slimes.
Okay. As you kind of see the cave and everything like that, looking back into the larger chamber, you don't see any slimes that make their way in. You do notice down the hallway, you kind of hear the screeching of those bats kind of coming and going, but none of them actually come into the larger cavern. You're not sure if that's because territorially this is the giant cave slimes territory and the bats know to stay away, or what the deal is, but it seems as though at least at this moment you don't have any predators making their way this direction.
Good deal.
Good deal. Okay. So Jeff, what do you do once you get the box out and you have you kind of have your
I try to clean it off. Reach in my pack and grab like my third best shirt or something.
Okay. You grab your third best shirt and you start just wiping the mucousy slime off of the chest.
Well, I'm assuming if it's going to eat through the body, it will eventually eat through the chest. So I'm going to try to get what I can off of it, and then I'm going to see if I can open the chest.
Okay. You find that the chest itself is actually locked. It doesn't seem as though the lock itself seems to be sturdier. However, you do notice that after playing with it for a little bit, you notice the wood itself is starting to get is loosened up quite a bit, and it doesn't take you long to kind of break the hatch that the lock is attached to.
Right.
Inside, you find basically a few things that probably were very important. One is obviously an amulet. Another one is a couple of papers, and then there's also a small leather pouch.
Well, I'm going to take everything out of there,
Okay.
and then once I do, I will first check the pouch to see if it does have the amulet in it.
No, the amulet's outside the pouch.
The amulet's outside. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
So there was the amulet. There was
some papers, and then there was a pouch.
Papers.
The papers, unfortunately, looked like they were damaged. The moisture seeped in, and so you're not able to make anything out on them. And the pouch actually contained various gems and zenith. It looks like it was more money than anything.
Okay.
The amulet itself, though, kind of looking at it, you do see that it shows quite a sophisticated level of craftsmanship. It's an ornate silver setting, and it's marked with impossibly detailed runes. The gemstone at the heart of the amulet is kind of like a swirling iridescent blueberry blue with kind of a hint of violet. And it seems as though in the light that you have, it shifts and undulates in a very peculiar way. As you can tell when you kind of gaze into the center of it, though, you can see that the very center of the jewel, there isn't any light that escapes. And so it creates a very black, almost hole in the center of it. You can't look directly through it, as opposed to most gemstones. When you see them faceted, you can see through it. Like you hold a light up behind it. This one, you can't see through the center. You can only see through the outsides.
Okay. I turn to my compatriots and say that I think we have what we came for. We should probably go back and get some instructions on how best to use this and see when we can depart.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. So Lon takes picks up Kalen and kind of like gently as he can, kind of carries him back through the cave system towards the exit. Do you guys probably take the most direct route out? Is that right?
And
I don't think we're gonna. I mean,
we should probably try and cover him. Whatever we have, we probably try and wrap him in, so whatever acid is left on him doesn't burn the shit out of him.
Yeah, we don't want
to. Okay.
Out of a salon.
Sure. So you're able to, between a few different extra clothing pieces that Jeff has.
Unless Ozias wants to go investigate what's disturbing the bats.
No. We have what we came for, so yeah.
Random encounters. Go fight the bats.
Go fight the giant bat.
Well, no, something's obviously disturbing them. You mentioned them like 4 times.
So the I just like the sound of bats in caves. Okay,
that's fine.
You can't hate me too much.
It's creepy if bats land on you.
I bet it is.
It happened to me at a campground once.
Yeah. Well, did it?
Yeah, in broad daylight. They weren't sure if it had rabies or not. But yeah, it landed on my shoulder and sat there for a little while before somebody knocked it off.
Oh, really? That's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, the closest I've ever come to a bat is when I was drinking in a cabin, and the bat decided it wanted to join us. So, but instead of being a cool and chill bat like the rest of us, it was just flying around the ceiling. Just
Yeah, that's mine. And like most of the bats we have up here are pretty small, and so it's something about the size of a hummingbird, maybe a little bigger. They move pretty good, and you're trying to knock them down with a net or a pillow or a tennis racket or whatever you have handy.
Yeah, we just tried to get the damn thing out the door. We were too drunk for any other solution. So, we were legally of the age to drink, just in case anybody was wondering.
But it did not bite me, thank goodness, because rabies
good.
shots would have sucked.
That would
Yeah, those are awful.
Okay. So you guys find a way to kind of respectfully cloak the body and take it out of the caves. You don't run into anything else because it seems as though you took a path that was more occupied by slimes, and you're not sure, but maybe the predators in the caves.
We have the scent of slime killers now.
That's your title.
Yeah,
Slime
no,
killers.
we have panic slime pheromones all over us as they were dying.
Yep, the pheromones will keep all the other slimes away. Never knew. That would be very JRPG, is to gain titles and a lot of those kind of things. But
I know, that's why one of the reasons I said it.
So okay, so basically, as you guys bring Salon to the front of the cave and everything like that, you do see that there are some people obviously waiting at the cave. They didn't like fully close the door as to like lock you into the cave system and anything like that, but they did keep it barely ajar, in so much as that they were there to open it and then of course seal the door back up when you guys get back. Obviously seeing you come back, it didn't take you very long to get through the caves, but you came back kind of bearing some bad news, and so you can see that the people that knew Kaylin, they're pretty much breaking out old wounds, fresh, I should say fresh wounds kind of getting opened again, with seeing more people that were lost to the attack that the Torrens made. So yeah, in this case, even though he wasn't killed by the Torrens directly, he was still a casualty.
I think there's a pretty direct line, like that we know, he wouldn't have gone into the caves had the attackers not shown up.
Correct. Yeah. So that was, so they, so at this point, they're going to take Kaylin up to the healer. So Selena would be where his next stop is. Where do you guys think your next stop is?
Well, I for some reason I assumed that we needed to be shown how to use the amulet, and so maybe we would go back and speak to Master the Sky Watcher.
Yeah.
Okay. Watcher Oleg.
Yeah.
Oleg. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Sure. So Solon bids you well, and because he's kind of taking a little bit of a different path, so he's gonna help. He's gonna help Kaylin get his kind of like last rites and everything like that.
Yeah. No,
and you can tell.
I mean,
he's pretty torn up over it.
Well, I'm sorry that we did not reach Kaylin in time to save him, but we appreciate your help retrieving the amulet. Hopefully this will be something that ultimately is good for all of us.
He nods and wishes you well in your journey, if he doesn't see you again, of course. Okay. So making your way back up to the observatory, because that's where you kind of assume that Watcher Oleg would be at this point. You kind of make your way hiking up to the top of the hill there. Entering into the observatory itself, you see that Oleg is he's looking over charts. He's kind of hunched over in what seems to be his normal fashion. He doesn't look uncomfortable or anything like that. It just looks like this is his natural state, looking over star charts, reading various books, doing science-y type things, that kind of stuff.
Doing science.
Yeah. Okay. He sees you come in and he welcomes you back and he asks if you were able to find Kaylin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ozias.
No, I said this. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. We found him and the amulet.
Oh, good. Well, that's good that you found the amulet. Was he okay? The caves are pretty dangerous.
Unfortunately, no, he was not. Okay, it looks
He-
like he got attacked by one of the giant slimes within the city, or within the caves.
He looks down and kind of, you can't tell if he says like a prayer or if he just says something, if he's just muttering something under his breath, but you can tell that it hits him a little bit to hear the news of Caitlin's fate. Sorry, Caitlin's fate. He does say, well, if you have the amulet and everything, then I guess that there's no time to waste. If you want to bring it over to me, I will show you what we suspect could be a way that would help you catch up to the Taurens in terms of how to approach the Void Swirl and everything like that.
Yeah. So yeah, we do that.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, what he does is he kind of looks at the amulet and he starts to explain how the amulet is one of the last artifacts that this tribe has kept from the pre-cataclysm. So to you, Jeff, you kind of suspect that this is kind of like either ancient technology or magic. You're not really sure exactly where. It would make it a unique artifact of any sort. Generally something that the university would want. So I don't know if that's something you want to file in the back of your head, but this is something that would be very interesting.
I'm sure it would, but I will not be stealing it from the rightful. If I'm alive and can return it, I will.
Just letting you know, the university would be.
I'm sure they would.
Very happy with you.
I'm sure they would, and maybe the Taurens will have something neat that if somebody's trying to kill me and I find their stuff, that's fair game. But if somebody's trying to help me and I find their stuff, they're getting their stuff back. That's all I'm saying.
That's not a bad mantra.
It's a good code.
Okay. So he basically looks at the amulet and he says, well, so this amulet, what it does is it allows you to, and this is why it may help, is it allows you to find what we would consider corridors. And so the reason why we don't use these corridors is because we just don't really have the people power to make good use of them. So this is just more stated as a historical relic for our village. But what we believe this can do is that into the Void Swirl, there are corridors that still exist that allow you to traverse them more safely than if you tried to go alone. You guys both know that traveling into the Void Swirl, it's like a death sentence. And so if there's any form of any reason to go in there safely or any way to go in there safely, this could be an immense benefit. Not to say that you couldn't navigate without it, but this should help you find a corridor that will lead you to the center of the storm. And he shows you one of the inscriptions. He reads it aloud in a tongue that neither of you have heard, and the things glow. And he says, you just need to prop it up in front of your what are those things called? The wheels on the ships.
Right, rudder.
You just as you're steering to the storm, use this as your guide, and you will be able to see the either coalesce and what would be the corridor. Now, needless to say, this is not a guaranteed solution. It still will rely on your ability to fly and navigate, but this should help.
Sounds good.
Okay, so as soon as he says another word, and the thing drops down, obviously falling kind of inert. He gives you both phrases. He writes them out in kind of a more modern, colloquial tone, so you guys know how to say them because you guys can't read the runes or anything like that.
So let me guess. It's Klaatu, Barada.
That's how you screw it up.
That's one way to pronounce it. That'd be hilarious.
You can't expect me to remember everything.
Well, that's why you
Yeah,
wrote it down
I
for
got
you.
it. I don't need any more help.
I got your words.
Sorry for the aside. Okay.
No, but it's a good aside because my brain, as soon as I said yes, here are the words to speak, and I was like, I should probably write this down for you guys because otherwise, what were those words again?
Or we're just gonna say we say the words.
Yeah, we say
No,
the
no.
words as we were taught.
You gotta say
As we were
them.
taught by Master Oleg. Precisely as we were taught.
Do you want this adventure to go anywhere? You probably don't want us to actually say the words then.
No, do what you want. We got all kinds of places this could go. Right? Gosh, you guys are killing me. But that would be funny. No, but it is not Klaatu Verata. And don't copyright this stream because we're not.
Klaatu Verata Nikto has been used in multiple movies, so I think we're fine.
I hope so. We're not savvy enough to know the legalese behind it.
It was in the original War of the Worlds, the black and white one. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Klaatu Verata Nikto is the words he has to say to get the giant robot to not destroy the planet.
Right.
Really?
Or is it what the robot says? It's something like that. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't realize that was the callback there.
Yeah, it's an in-joke in the movie, which is funny.
Huh.
So
Okay.
So what are the words? Since you're going to make us say them?
No, I'm not going to make you say them.
Okay. I was waiting for 3 14-syllable words.
Not War of the Worlds and Stay There, Stood Still. But anyways.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I knew what you were saying because as soon as you said giant robot, I was like, oh, he doesn't mean War of the Worlds.
No.
But that's okay. I'm not going to get
correct.
Childish and be like, I'm actually.
You could have, because although we could have left it in there, maybe we would have got some comments on me being wrong.
Yeah, so comment if you believe that Brent was wrong and how wrong you think he was. Okay, so
it's one of the phrases engraved on the amulet.
What's that?
It's one of the phrases engraved on the amulet, right?
Correct.
I'm taking notes.
Yep. And so, I mean, like he doesn't take the time to explain to you the relationship between the runes and the pronunciation or anything like that. But I mean, the intellectual side of your brain goes, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I could take a charcoal rubbing of this."
So basically, it's like a compass for the void swirl, basically, right?
Well, it's a compass that allows you to find faster travel ways, but the way that it's able to be used in the void swirl is it allows you to find a corridor that allows safer passage through it. So as there's such a small village, like I said, it just doesn't have a lot of uses.
Okay.
Does he tell us what it looks like when it does that, though?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he says that so what it will look like is it'll basically look like there's you're following a wisp of like energy. Okay. Effectively, and it's not, I wouldn't say that it's like a compass in the sense that you don't have like a dial or anything like that, but imagine it in so much as that it looks like it's able to kind of coalesce and point an energy like
okay. That's what I wanted to know is how was it going to tell us which way to go?
Yeah, as you look through the viewfinder, you can kind of see an area where the stream goes versus not.
Good.
You get there, you're like, how does this fucking thing work?
You get there and we look at it and it marks out all the areas we're not supposed to go, and we're like, I guess we take one of those.
This is one of those things where you guys ever play a Minesweeper and you have one of those and you have two equally. Yeah. You're like, well, 50-50 chance.
50-50, yeah.
And then it's inevitably the bomb every time.
Yep.
Sure. So no, but yeah, he explains its usage in a way that's meaningful for you and not horrible DM anti-plot approach. Take this amulet. You will know how to use it when you get there.
Take this amulet, speak some gibberish. It'll do something.
Yeah. He explains in detail how it looks like you can see the
okay. The coalesced beam makes sense. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But you have to view it through the lens, through the gem effectively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So in terms of what's next step at this point, it really it's kind of what do you do before you leave
I want to see the village elder. I'm going to give her back the other items that were in the chest
Okay.
that the amulet had.
That would
The
be
papers and the
Lyria.
pouch. Lyria,
Sure.
yeah. I want
Yep.
to
So
see
Lyriel,
Lyriel.
yeah, you as you approach her, she looks at, she greets you again, giving the papers in the pouch back to her. She appreciates it. She does notice that the papers seem to be kind of like damp with damage and stuff like that, but she doesn't make any comments of it.
Yeah, I let her know that the box was compromised due to the slime, and that some of the stuff must have gotten in on the papers. I don't know what they said, but this is the other stuff that we found with the amulet. We have the amulet with us now.
Okay. Well, she thanks you for the return of these items, even though Kaylin met an unfortunate fate because word travels fast.
Yeah, I asked her if there's any progress on what I asked her about sending a ship to Zepro.
Yeah, they were able to send because of your role and kind of what you were doing for them. They did send I would say a hunter in a airship. She doesn't know exactly how long it'll take them to get to Zepro, but she has done what you asked.
Nice.
I thank her.
Yep.
Many thanks.
Yeah, and she remembers your instructions about who to talk to, and she relays that she gave the instructions exactly as you said.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to ask if we could, that we had a full. If we could just top off our supplies, if there was a way we could do that.
What exactly did you need again, Jeff?
I don't know.
Not in character,
water.
but out of character.
Well, we just want to make sure we had X number of supplies in the ship, in the boat, when we left Zepro. It took a certain amount of time to get here. I'm assuming we consumed some amount of our supplies. We are going somewhere else further away where I don't think if you don't want us to worry about that kind of stuff, that's fine. But
hand waving for the purpose of this adventure.
Okay.
Most of those things, the only real things you need to really focus on are your inventory points, which I believe you used some as part of your battle with the slime. And then, of course,
when do we get that kind of stuff back? Like mind points, inventory points? Like, is that assuming we don't take 7 long rests between,
So there is a resting process, right?
Okay.
And so resting is the same thing that they do in other games, in so much as that you have to rest in some way to gain these back. Now there's two types of rest. So there's resting in the wilderness, which is you effectively have 3 ways to rest. And so we're going to just pause just so people are aware of how the game works. And I'm just going to use this. So anybody watching the stream, we're taking these moments to kind of explain how the game works for ourselves and yourselves too. But if you're in the wilderness, you can use a magic tent, similar to kind of like how you pull out a tent in Final Fantasy and you sleep anywhere. And that's created spending 4 inventory points, and that is enough for an entire group. You can receive hospitality from someone friendly, like finding a cabin in the woods that isn't a witch or something like that. And then, of course, you could also find a safe place where you have no risk of being attacked. And so that the difference being there is that you have to basically know that you're not going to get at all and almost attacked at all.
So maybe we should rest here. Is that does the boat? I mean, on the boat when we rest there, does that count as not getting attacked, or is that always slightly unsafe potentially? I mean, not trying to give away or fish for anything, but
so I would say that in most cases, especially if you can't see anybody on the horizon, you would run little to no risk of being attacked, and I would allow that. Now, when you rest, you do get all of your hit points and mind points, and you recover from any status effects that you may have in there. Okay. Now, there is a process for inventory points, and so I believe then that's slightly different. And so when you're in a town, a town, basically in a village, you would spend 5Z to rest one person for one night. So for you two to rest in town, if you were to use the inn type thing, you would pay 10 zenit to sleep in a town of this size. If you were to want to recharge your inventory points, and Jeff, because your character uses inventory points more
Right.
frequently, you have to spend 10Z to recharge your inventory points by 1. So 10 zenit to recharge an inventory point.
Interesting. All right. So how many zenit did we get from killing all the slimes?
How many Z did you get from killing slimes?
Yeah.
I
played Final Fantasy. Every creature gives you money.
It's true.
I believe I asked that question at the beginning. These guys didn't give you any money. They're slimes. I believe in the beginning when we were talking about world building, we decided we weren't going to have every monster drop money, but I could have been wrong.
Well, I don't think he realized that every time he does one of his abilities, it's going to cost him money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's essentially what is going to happen. Because his alchemy is all inventory based, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
like to get full, I would need to spend 30. I mean, that's
Yeah. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
And so for this particular town, because you did return the money from the chest, we'll let you recharge your inventory and rest for free. How about
it's either that, or do we have to start extorting your NPCs?
I wasn't going to say anything, but I did leave money for once in a chest, but you were just kind enough to return it.
It'll be like that scene from Ghostbusters.
I know, that's my character.
All right, we brought the body back.
My character.
We brought the body back. We eliminated some slimes. We got your amulet. That'll cost you a tiny sum of.
we have a bill.
Who do I send the invoice?
We're going to throw in the burial party stuff for free, seeing as you just experienced a tragedy.
Yeah,
yikes!
Exactly.
Yikes! Okay, so needless to say, they will take care of your inventory recharge and allow you to rest for this evening without too much, with no grumbling or anything.
Let's do that and leave when the air tides are great early in the morning.
Yep.
Okay. Whatever they may be,
when the airstreams are appropriate.
Sure, the airstreams. We always like those morning airstreams. They're so fresh. Okay, so you rest for the evening. They do, they offer to feed you, depending on if you want to or not. The villagers do offer to stay up and kind of share stories, with you, especially since they don't get too many visitors to stay the night, especially those that have helped them out. So they seem friendly enough that they'd be willing to keep you company if you guys wanted to, or if you wanted to keep kind of all the business, that's fine too.
I'm okay talking until it's time for bed, but again, we're not going to stay up late. I don't know about Ozias.
Ozias is like,
he doesn't really socialize very much.
Conversation
at this
not
point.
Anything.
Yeah.
He's learned everything he knows in order to wipe out this village should it be necessary.
To acquire their resources.
The fine art of small talk was not part of your training.
It is, but he turns it on and off, so
that's fair.
He doesn't feel the. You're making small talk, so he doesn't feel the need.
Yeah, I'll make the small talk. It's very much who my character is. So.
Okay. So you make small talk into the evening and you meet some of the people that you didn't meet before. Obviously, they seem very warm and friendly to you. They would be more warm to Ozias, but as you may guess, there's just a certain there's certain aspects of his personality that they tend to shy away from and maybe are intimidated by. So you learn quite a bit. You learn a bit about their culture, their history, what they used to do before this tragedy and how they pretty much, they didn't stay off the radar. They were known for kind of their stargazing and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, with the detritus that kind of encircles the world, their skill set is really rather limited. So, great navigators, they were not really so much anymore. And their village is one of those villages with limited resources that keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Based on your own impressions, you feel like this could be kind of the death nail for something like this, that this village may not recover in this generation or even another generation. Probably take some time.
And considering I could never even see the stars, hearing any talk about the stargazing stuff, like I'm a very attentive and rapt listener.
Mhm. Yeah, and so the evening closes. Everyone goes their separate
Right.
ways, and you get your resting music. I really should have had a soundboard. Get your resting music. Your inventory points are recharged. You're both healed, and mind points are up. And
All right. As we get into the boat, I remind Ozias that a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. And
I tell him how wise he is before I move to the to set sail.
I make friends everywhere I go.
it's not a
So
bad
do you want to try out the compass right away? do the amulet?
Well, it won't
do we
work
wanna
until
try
we
it?
get closer. I don't think. Will it?
It will.
Yeah. You said we try it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you work on your pronunciation. You find that you kind of have a little bit of a back and forth. Let's see. 1 second. Jeff, I mean, both of you are able to kind of eventually speak the words and have the compass react both in the
Okay.
on and off fashion that you're looking for. But it is one of those things that you say the words as you read them at first, and obviously doesn't work right away. You kind of have to tweak your pronunciation, as you're kind of like, maybe that's more like an E. Did he say no?
Well,
No.
Jeff could roll for it to see exactly how good he does it.
Nah, no need. So
Because
you guys,
I'm not rolling for it because I will crit fail and will fall out of the sky.
oh, that was the other enchantment on the amulet. No, you guys, I mean, it just takes some tinkering and messing around and saying the words wrong. I kind of imagine that, scene in Harry Potter where they're like Wingardium Leviosa, that kind of shit. And you eventually get it to the point. And as you lift it up, you can kind of holding it by the silver chain. You can see that, as it sits in front of you, you can actually see almost like currents, like wind currents, that kind of point off in different directions. Some are definitely stronger than others. It doesn't seem as though right now that necessarily is as helpful, but you can see that some of the wind currents heading in your direction could help you get to the void swirl faster.
Yeah, it tells us basically which way we need to go, though, and we can stay on track with it, right?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't tell you where you need to go. It tells you the way that could get you to your destination faster. If that makes sense. So, like if you pointed west, you would see that there are these wind currents in these areas.
But we know where the void swirl is.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a map.
Yeah. Everybody knows where the void swirl is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I follow whatever path is quickest.
Yeah. So you it doesn't feel like you're on a faster path per se. So I mean, it just feels like you're sailing normally, unfortunately.
I trust in the magic of this profane object.
Profane. Okay.
I don't know how magic works.
we use mushrooms. We don't use magic. Wrong M word.
Exactly.
Okay. So yeah. So as you travel the distance, you know that the void swirl is a couple days away, even at the fastest of speeds. So you travel, rest, travel, and then on that third day, as you approach a little in the afternoon, you can see the darkening of the sky in the distance. The void swirl, it pretty much presents kind of an unsettling spectacle. Like it's believed to have a turbulent core, and it's a roiling of kind of tempestuous energies. It kind of churns, and it doesn't. I mean, it looks like a storm cloud on steroids. In the distance, you can already start to see arcane lightning crackling and kind of dancing among the various clouds, kind of as it lights up. It seems like there are these shadows that shift in the background, almost monstrous in nature. Very intimidating feeling, even from the distance that you are. You guys both know from personal experience that attempts to traverse the expanse have often yielded grim tales of airships vanishing without any sort of trace, as if they were swallowed by the void swirl itself. Getting a little bit closer, you get your spyglass out. You do see some dots in the distance that you suspect are actually ships. You're not sure.
Yeah, that's what I was actually worried about. I can't see them any clearer with my spyglass.
You can make them out a little bit, but you're so far away that both of you are kind of at the very edge of what would be your visual distance. However, with even at this distance, based on the size and the shape of the ship, you are you, Brent, especially have a high level of confidence that these would be the Skypiercer class of the Tauran airship fleet.
Well, there really isn't any reason for anybody else to be here, so yeah, I kind of assume they're Taurans.
Yeah. So the Skypiercers, they're kind of like scout ships. They're not a very large ship whatsoever. The way that you can really distinguish them, though, is that they have a very long needle-like bowsprit. That it's kind of its most distinct feature, other than it has these 3 sails that form its canopy that almost look like dragon scales. Otherwise, it's kind of a small ship. You know that it's manned by a crew between 6 and 8 under a normal circumstances. So, it's not a heavily armed ship or anything like that. It's mostly done for reconnaissance, scouting, and light patrols.
Okay. Well, we're going to do our best to avoid them. So,
okay,
if we can.
All right. So, in this particular situation, right now you're outside the void swirl. You're going to try to. You want to avoid them. So let's go ahead and let's talk about your goal. Your goal is to get into the void swirl without alerting them to your presence. Is that?
Well, yeah, we can't fight them. There's more of them than there are of us, and they're better armed than us. So yes, we're trying to find whatever's in the void swirl is what we're trying to find. So
okay.
Yes, we're trying to get to the void swirl.
They're just zealots. You don't think they just have like clubs and crosses?
6 guys with clubs and crosses could probably still beat the shit out of one person.
Well, maybe.
We'll just get overwhelmed.
They're not level 6. We are.
I think we'll just get overwhelmed too fast.
That's possible. But my concern is that we need to try to beat them to the confluence point.
Right, which is why we're trying to get past them.
Yeah. So I think we need to use the amulet to see if the way that it recommends is the way they appear to be going, or if there's something else we can try and do. Because even if they spot us, they have no idea who the hell we would be.
Okay, so we just
I'm not saying they wouldn't try to
any sort of non-engagement for just going fast.
Yeah, we don't. I don't want to engage them either, but I would like to try to, I don't know why they would be, why they would assume that a village that they essentially almost wiped out, anybody would be following them. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they're going to assume I don't think they're going to assume we're Taurans. Our ship doesn't look Tauran, so
it does not.
No,
they would be able to tell fairly easily that you're not Tauran.
But I mean, do you think they just fly around the sky attacking every ship that isn't Tauran?
I think they're gonna fly. They're gonna attack any ship that's not Tauran that's near the void swirl during their.
Maybe we wait till they go in and then we try to beat them to the punch.
Attempt to fill a prophecy. Right. I think we need to get in before them.
Okay.
So yeah, we're just trying to go fast.
And see what the amulet says.
Okay. So activating the amulet, you do see that there is as you kind of look at the large tumultuous cloud bank, there is a way that it recommends that kind of as swirls through. It seems as though, of the 2 ships that you can see on this side of the cloud bank, it does take you fairly close to one of the ships, and you're not sure if that's by design or if that just happens to be lucky. Because they're obviously not just anchored, they're floating and kind of a patrolling fashion.
So, Ozias, do you think that we hang back and wait till they enter the void swirl and can't really see us, or?
They don't look like they're entering it, though, right?
No, these 2 ships that you see
they're just hanging out.
Yeah,
they're scouting for a bigger ship. Is my assumption.
Okay.
Do we see a ship in any other? If we check out the sky in any other direction other than in front of us, do we see any other ships?
Yeah. So through Brent Spyglass, you might be able to make out another ship farther west, but it's like really small and very far away. So you're not sure because I mean the void swirl is it is a large mass.
Or somebody went in already and they're waiting for somebody to come out.
So tactically, what do you think our best option is?
Go pat and just try and get in as quickly as possible.
All right, so gather speed on this side of the clouds and try and
just move past them as quickly as possible. Do they have like armaments on the ship? Like, are they going to be able to shoot us?
Your awareness of the sky piercers is that they're lightly, they're lightly weaponed. Good job, Mike. Lightly armed, but they are able to do ship to ship combat. So your ship
and we are not.
Your ship doesn't have that same capability. So there would be a chance that if they did, if they were close enough to engage, they could do some damage to yourself.
So do we wait for night? Try and go by them with no lights or anything? No lights, no sound. It's just the two of us.
Yeah, and we could just follow the. I mean, well, they're already. If we can see them, they can already see us.
Is there any indication that they've seen us? Can we try and hide in clouds? Or
not at this distance. You could try to hide in clouds. I mean, but there's nothing overt that you see that they're like, oh, let's go and chase them down. It's not like they're changing their patrol.
I think we should just go past them and hope we lose them in the void swirl.
What time of day is it? How close are we tonight?
It's mid-afternoon, so you could wait. You could wait probably
several hours
risking
getting spotted.
And trying to move from cloud to cloud. We could try.
Well, I don't know if we can do that. I'm gonna rely on you tactically. If you think we need to just try to speed past them, then that's what we need to do. And once we get into the void swirl, pray I'm
gonna try and make it past them. I'm gonna try and make it past them.
Okay.
And hope we lose them in the void swirl because they won't have the thing's guidance that we do.
Okay. And so I wonder, because we're doing an actual play and we're live, if we should ask the audience. No, I was kidding.
Well, the audience is, I don't know if there's anybody watching right now.
That's too bad. Comment if these guys are doing the right thing. Okay. So basically, and you're not going to wait till night or anything like that to do this?
Mm-mm. I mean, there's other ships coming, and who knows? It could be swarming by the time we night falls. So yeah, I think our best bet is to press the advantage we already have. One, they don't know we're coming. Two, they might not have identified our ship yet. And three, we have the compass amulet thing. They don't.
And it's not a military ship, so I don't know how threatening our ship is. I mean, I suppose anybody entering the void swirl would be viewed as suspicious, but I don't know. I don't know their motivations.
Okay. And so let's just line this up really quite quickly here. So your guys' objective is to enter the void swirl. You guys are going to try to get there. Now your approach is what I kind of want to make sure I fully understand. So you're just going to like gun it and try to get into the void swirl, and that's your like.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. What else are we gonna do?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like, missing that there was another strategy besides punch it. So
nope, we're just gonna try and move past them as fast as possible and lose them in the void swirl.
Okay. So we're gonna do a couple things here. So first of all, we're going to use a clock. You guys don't have the most durable of ships, so I'm going to give your ship a 6-tile clock, meaning that if if for whatever reason you encounter situations in which your ship is the target or there's a failure which affects your ship, those 6 tiles effectively determine how much time your ship can survive. So, like if it got hit by a cannon, that would effectively take a tile off, or if you didn't navigate the void swirl correctly. So that's what this ship is scuttled tile clock is going to be. Okay. And so at this point, Okay, so let's go ahead and by trying to navigate through this, you're just gonna find a favorable wind using the amulet and just try to like ride on
Yep.
through.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So as you kind of like line up your approach, you find that there is and it's one of those things where as you see the giant fog bank roiling in the background, you can see that there's this kind of swerving path that navigates as it slowly goes into the swirl itself. From the distance you are from the roiling fog bank, you kind of align yourself with this current, for lack of a better way to phrase it, and you feel like your ship is being drawn there faster than your airship propellers would typically allow you to travel. Now, it's not like you're hitting like a Mario Kart like speed boost or anything like
Ludicrous
that.
speed.
And you're not going
No,
ludicrous speed,
but the
but you
idea
are.
is, yeah, we're going full speed, and the ships that are sitting there are not.
Mhm.
So what I'd like you to do is that so what I'd like you to do is we're going to start to do this as kind of a navigation. As you get closer, though, they are going to try to intercept you. So what I would like is a Dex plus Insight, and we're going to make some opposed checks between you and the other captain. Can you go ahead and roll your Dex plus Insight for me? Whoever's navigating, I believe that's Brent in this case.
Let me get into the dice thing.
Oh yeah, do you have the dice roller up on the stream, Mike?
I'm going to put it up right now. So whenever you guys want to roll yourself some dice.
I rolled a 9.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ooh, 2d8 for both people. And they rolled a 10. So as you approach, you can see that the speed is they're able to pick up quite a bit of speed. One thing about this Guy Piercer class is that it does have quite a few.
Is there anything Jeff can do to help me with the roll? Like add anything to it? Is
He
there an
could
aid
assist.
thing?
Yeah, remember he can assist. If you wanted to go ahead and do that.
And
mean,
so what do I roll to assist?
We can wait until next time since we know the results this time, but I think
Okay.
we'll probably be doing that every time moving forward.
No, I mean I would be trying to do anything I could. What do I roll when I assist though?
So just as a refresher on group checks, you can, if you choose to cooperate in this, you nominate a leader. In this case, the leader would be Brent. And each supporting character will perform a support check identical to the leader at a difficulty a level of 10. Fumbles and critical successes generate no opportunities. So you can't, even if you critically success, you don't get extra bonuses on top of that.
Okay.
They're not the same as a critical success for the leader.
Nice.
But then each supporting character that performs this will grant a +1 to the leader's check. And then, of course, if you have any bonds toward the leader, are also added to the check.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So they outmaneuvered us this time.
Yep. So as you can see, it does seem as though the deck, they kind of just see you coming, obviously, even though you're following a fast pathway into the void swirl itself. Your very head-on and direct approach gives them time to kind of like point you out in the distance, and they make for an intercept course. At this point, they've reached close enough that they're going to be firing their deck ballista at you. So bear with me a few moments. Okay. What's going on here? Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. Okay, And they rolled an 8. So the ballista shot that they fired, pretty much you can tell that they were premature in their when they fired that. The ballista fires wide and down. So Jeff, you know that somebody that's a core dweller may have an unfortunate day, but fortunately for you guys, that ballista missed.
Okay.
Okay. So this would still be an opposed roll. So go ahead, Brent. And if you want to assist in this case, Jeff.
I will assist.
Okay.
Did you just roll the same dice as you did last time?
Same thing.
Did. So Jeff, you did not add anything to his success. So
okay. when do we get Fabula points? I don't have any Fabula points left, do
you
I?
get one at the beginning of each session. I should have reminded you that.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Okay. So in this particular scenario, your opposed check, you actually succeeded. So you can tell that based on how you're banking with the currents and everything along those lines, that you're pulling away far faster than they expect. They're still going to take a shot, even though their intercept course is now off. So much like a football tackle who predicted that you would be right here, they're now back here. So they're going to be trailing you after this point. So they would have the opportunity to get one good shot off. 14. So in this case, they are successful, and a bolt rips into the backside of your ship, tearing up quite a bit of the wood. Please mark one thing on your clock.
I really just have a 6-part rectangle.
It doesn't matter. However, if you want it to be a rectangle, you want it to be a rhombus, I don't really care.
All right, 1.
All right. So opposed check to see if you guys can escape into the void swirl with pursuit. Man, you gotta get rid of one of those dice, Brent.
I'm gonna re-roll the 1.
Okay.
With my Fabula point. Well, it's better.
So that'd be
it's
a 10 total.
Yeah, 10. Okay. And then Jeff didn't help.
Not very helpful at assisting.
So it looks as though they're able to maintain distance on you, even though they're not precisely following the same current that you are. It does look as though they're going to be able to pursue you into the void swirl at a distance that's dangerous. And another bolt rips across your ship's deck. Please take another one off the clock. These dice hurt. So as you're being chased by one of the sky-piercing ships, you see that on the other side, there's one of the other ships is also following. However, based on the distance, they weren't able to catch up to you. So as you pretty much, as you get close to the void swirl, not having the amulet, you would not really see any reason why this would be as good of a reason. There's no real visual indicators that this is a great place to enter into the void swirl, and so you're almost kind of taking it on faith, but with kind of a whoosh as you feel yourself entering into the tempestuous void swirl, a different part of the chase happens. You can see the kind of the arcane lightning going back and forth, kind of playing across the skies. Your ship is being kind of, even though you're in this quote unquote corridor, it's being kind of rocked back and forth violently. And behind you, you can still see the shadow of the sky piercer, because they just went straight in with you without any sort of guidance, hoping to effectively catch you. So now that you're in the void swirl, what do you do?
I'm not sure these guys. I'm definitely operating the amulet and pointing out everything too.
Yeah, we're just trying to get to the center so we can get to what we're looking for.
Okay. So
we're trying to stay on our path, our amulet path, however that happens to go.
Yep.
Sure. So go ahead, and in this particular case, roll for me you're going to roll for me just kind of a navigation. We're just going to roll Dex plus Dex. Your difficulty is 10 because you do have the amulet, and they're going to also roll a Dex plus Dex to stay on your tail.
And I can assist him on this. Do the same thing.
You can.
Whoops.
Is that a critical failure?
No, critical failure is only double ones, but it is also not a critical success because that has to be higher.
Right. It's not a success at all.
Okay. Is that a cocked dice?
No.
No, I see a 6 and a 5.
No, it's
Oh,
6 and a 5.
crazy. I don't know. That's just in my angle. It just seemed like it was like,
Well,
how do you...
the weird, the 8s look weird sometimes.
Okay. So in this case, as you're traveling along, you do find that the violent roiling and wind is kind of buffeting the ship. You do see that, you're kind of having a hard time maintaining your course. And so, Jeff, even though you're trying your best to navigate, Brent, you're keeping your hands on the wheels and everything like that. You're like, how is this supposed to help us? And out of the back of your, out of the corner of your eye, you can see the sky piercers keeping on your track and actually making up some ground.
I think if we can just stay the course, we can lose them, Ozias. I think we have to keep going.
Yeah, I agree. We don't have much else we can do.
You look back and you don't see any you don't see any bolts coming your direction. I think it's too dangerous for them to fire them, one could say.
All right, let's keep going.
All right. Next one. Okay. 10. That means you're successful.
I'm gonna assist him anyhow. Boy, I'm the best assister.
I was about to say, Jeff, I mean, fortunately you haven't like critically failed or anything like that, but you're like, go that way. And he's just like, I don't know if I trust this guy.
Not like I've rolled great either, so
Yeah, you got a
that's
10.
that's the first roll that was over a 10 for me. So
so you find you feel like you've entered a little bit more the center of the corridor, and you feel like the buffeting hits you less and less right now. However, as you look behind you, you see that the Skypiercer ship does seem to be off course a little bit. You're not sure if they're able to recover from that, but the captain on the other ship seems to be rolling fairly well. You've made some distance away from them, but obviously you can see that something is happening on the deck that doesn't look as though it's the ballista. It looks as though it's more of a magical in nature. Okay, so next one.
that's a good one. 12.
That is pretty good. What did I roll? I rolled a 5.
Yeah, you need one more.
Hey, that was my best assist attempt ever, and it still wasn't good enough.
Okay.
It's close.
Yep. So as you continue to press through, Jeff almost assisted you this time, but you make your way through and you actually pull some distance away from the ship in question. You see them kind of veer off to the side, and from there you notice that, let's see, that a gout of flame streams from the front of the ship. I didn't actually think about it, but what is your magic defense for your ship?
100.
Exactly.
100. Well, that obviously was my oversight, so it doesn't surprise me that you would ask for it to be very high. We're going to go ahead and say that it's 10, just for the average and all that stuff. Seven. You can tell that they've been blown off far enough course, and that gout of flame does not reach you whatsoever. Flying. So at this point, you can tell that they've gone off in the distance, and they kind of disappear into their own cloud bank, and you see lightning flashing the shadows of their ship. Before too long, it seems as though that shadow is gone. You're not sure if they perished. Maybe they found a safe space in the eye of the storm. Maybe not. But as you navigate through, you find yourselves able to kind of, without the pursuers, you find it easier to stay on the corridor. The corridor itself, it's not very wide. So as you're going through, you do find it does take an active amount of sailing and everything like that. But as you're winding through, the storm buffeting you on each side, it doesn't take you much more than about 20 minutes, you'd say, before you see the storm lighten up and it feels like you kind of explode out into the eye of like a hurricane, and so the center is much calmer than the actual void swirl that it was. Um, Approaching, like as soon as you exit, there's no time for rest, unfortunately. What you have is you have what appears to be like an island that is partially covered by the void swirl, but there is a place that you can land your ship. You wouldn't be alone, though. There are a couple of ships that have already landed at that particular location. What do you do?
Tauren ships?
From this distance, you can make out that they are Tauren ships. Yes.
Are they the same ships? Are they scout ships or are they bigger ships?
One of them is larger, and there are 3 scout ships with it.
That's a lot of people.
So that's at least 25 people, probably 30 people,
Possibly. Mm-hmm.
Can we land on the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, you could navigate around. Do you want to navigate in the open, or do you want to try to skim the wall? One could say.
Well, we'll try to skim the wall and see if we can find another place to tell a dock that isn't next to the Tauren ships.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as you guys proceed, farther away from that particular spot where the Taurens had kind of anchored, you do see that there are other places to land on the landmass that you could get to.
And what is on the landmass? Like, can we see why they anchored here?
That place they anchored seemed to be the best place to do so based on your limited visibility in this eye. The other stuff that you can see is a little bit rocky. So while you can anchor there, obviously, if you bring a lot of people, it's not going to be as convenient for you to set up any kind of camp. Whereas you guys, just the 2 of you, it's a little easier for you to.
But I mean, best place in what sense? Like, what else is on this island? Can we not see anything?
Just else? You guys. I mean, it pretty much looks like a rocky. So it looks like an oasis. There doesn't seem to be any buildings or anything like that that you can tell. It doesn't have any real heavy foliage or anything like that. But it's the best place in terms of like where to set up camp. There's the most flat space there, even though it does have rocks. But
what I'm saying is this looks like the only thing that's in the center of the eye of the storm.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It looks, I mean, for lack of a better way of putting it, it looks like a giant volcano in the center of this.
But I mean, and this is where all the tendrils in the thing lead to.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in the void swirl at least. Yeah.
What I'm saying is they didn't just land here because it's the first thing they saw. Like, I want to make sure this is where we're supposed to be going.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'll land on one of the harder spots.
Okay. And with that, you scuttle your ship. I'm just kidding.
I'm not really that surprised.
No. Yeah, we've got to steal the Tauren ship to get out of here, or stow away. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do this. So as you find a place to park your ship and anchor it for the time being, you anchor it a pretty fair distance away from their camp because you're not exactly sure what they're looking for or what they're doing. Now, the one thing that I want to mention is that as you get closer, you notice that the actual, even though it's got a rocky outcropping on top of it, you notice that there are strangely smooth pieces that look like they're interconnected plates. They don't seem to be natural formations of rocks or anything like that.
Okay, so I assume that's the first place we want to go check out.
Okay. All right. So you guys safely land. You're in the center of the storm, and I think we probably pause it there for this time.
Okay.
Good. So a little bit of a cliffhanger to leave you. What did you find in the eye of the storm? Yeah, a lot of fun. I was kind of hoping you'd crash land, but
well, I mean, you can have me roll to land the ship if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely. If I have to assist successfully, for the ship to land.
There you go. There you go.
All right, is that 2 8s? Let's go. We'll do it all. We'll do it all deck.
No, that's not 2 8s. That was a
Yeah.
3.
Oh
was,
no!
I crit help.
No, you didn't.
yeah.
You're
For help.
5-5.
I,
That's still
I-
funny.
I rolled a 5, which is a failure. So, you know.
I'm just kidding with you. It just would have been much more dramatic. But needless to say, you found your way to this island, and we'll see what happens next week as you guys go through in our simple adventure, playing through the idea of what's happening in the realm of Ur.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah. So okay. Well, do you guys have anything before we wrap up this stream?
No.
No, I don't think
Had
so.
a good time.
Yeah. It's fun as always. Thank you for running the game.
Yeah. I think what I'm going to try to focus on is series of skills rolls. I was kind of reading up on it, and I think that there's some 4th edition stuff that talks about skill roll series and stuff. Did you ever roll with anything like that in 4th ed?
Like,
Brent, do you remember that?
Roll series? Like, no.
A series of skill checks, like a skill check encounter and all that kind of stuff.
No, because, well,
You
maybe.
because you hated 4th ed?
That's probably one of the things I didn't like, frankly, is I like it to be more narrative than rolling dice 37 times in a row.
Yeah. So we only got 6 times in a row this time.
Yes.
And you were 50-50.
And I failed most of them. Yeah.
I am impressed by that. I shouldn't be, but I somehow
You shouldn't be. Like, my odds are less than 50-50. That's why when we first started playing Vaesen and you were like, no, you have to roll a 6 on the dice. I was like, I'm never going to win anything ever. This is never going to work.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind for any future skill checks and all that kind of stuff. But okay, Jeff, do you want to tell people how to?
Yeah, if you'd like to find us on social media, we are at Rollwise on X, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want to email us, it's rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
And as always, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate having you here and listening, whether it is to the recorded stream or if you joined us live. Thank you always. Please subscribe, like we said earlier. We're trying to hit that 50 mark, hopefully someday. Thank you guys. And as always, roll well and roll wise and be safe out there. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.